Lunch.
Oh hey, you caught me at work.
No, nobody can really see what you're talking
I
about.
thought,
But
yeah, this is it's just, I guess it's
way out of frame.
surprisingly out of frame. My little rickety ass thing. I don't even know what to call it.
Oh, it's so rickety. I need to do some Twitter magic here at some point.
Yeah, you do. Question:
Don't have a device. Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to talk about?
Nah. I didn't do much over Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day, Labor Day weekend.
Credit one the soldiers. Credit labor unions with the other.
Yeah. We had a friend up from Lexington, and we went to Pleasant Ridge and just kind of hung out and ate and went to Nine Giant Brewing, which I'm not a brewery kind of guy, but my girlfriend and he are both very much into beer, so I tolerate it. I let them indulge.
When in beer, do as the beer folk do.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Went on some walks in some parks and stuff, but nothing crazy.
Well, I took the family to Lake Erie. I think it's called East Harbor Lakeshore Park. It's a state park, and we camped there, and it was a beautiful campground. But the thing about camping, especially like car camping, like, you know, where everything's on top of each other, is you're rolling the dice with your neighbors. And when we decided to do this vacation a little bit late. So like we picked a campsite a week to go on Labor Day, and we kind of had to kind of be in the middle of everything. And when you're rolling the dice with 20 people within earshot of you, the chances of getting an asshole approaches 1. And unfortunately, we had 3 separate assholes camping next to us. It was crazy. Like, the first night we got there, like, there was this one, and it's Labor Day weekend, so I get it. And also, like, I'm not the type of guy who's going to fucking do a noise complaint. I just forgot my earplugs, and I was bothered by it. Because I expect to put up with a certain amount of noise and talking and people laughing and stuff. But this went on till like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, okay. And they finally settled down. I got to sleep. At 2:30, I'm awoken by my tent incandescing like the surface of the sun, because someone has pulled up at 2:30 to pitch their entire campsite. And they're doing it with children who are running around screaming. They're doing it with loud outdoor voices. Ma, where's my tent? That kind of shit. And firing up air pumps to get, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Like they didn't get that shit squared away till like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm just like fucking fuming. The next night, a bunch of college students came in, and they were like up partying until like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. It was like, God damn it, I hate it so much, because I haven't been camping at like a popular campground in 5 years. Like when I go to Beaver Island, we're usually 3 people camping at a site that supports like 20, 30 sites. You know, or we've gone to like just less popular times when it's colder, earlier in the spring. But going to Labor Day, like, it's like fucking never again will I do that. But so the cool thing about this part of Lake Erie, so this is the extreme western part of Lake Erie. A couple cool things. I could see Cedar Point from our campground. That was kind of neat across the lake. Second, there's a whole chain of islands, much like Beaver Island. There's like north and south, and there's like north, south, and middle Bass Island, and then Kelly Island. Now, South Bass Island contains Put In Bay, which is like this just like renowned party cove that we didn't go to. The other thing is interesting is like this is only like 2 to 4 miles offshore, so they have ferries that run every 30 minutes. They're like $7 to take across, and like you're there in 15 minutes. Unlike the Beaver Island, fucking voyage you have to go on.
Yeah.
And they like, it's cheap to get cars across there. Like you can bring your car for like twice that. You can bring a bike for $1.50. So we did a little bit of sailing, but there wasn't as much wind as I was hoping for. So we took a ferry over to Kelly's Island. And one of the selling points of that is that they have the world's largest, best preserved, and easily accessible glacier grooves in the world. So anytime, like, my home state's got something that's world renowned, I want to go see it. Glacial grooves, if you don't know, are the grooves that are carved in the bedrock when you have a mile of ice slowly grinding over the surface. Like it picks up granite boulders and just uses those as giant chisels. And I have some. Can you cut over to that show and tell screen? I have a picture of me, Jack, and Cecily posing in front of it. So this was at a stone quarry that used to be maintained on the island, and there was like 15 feet of this thing sticking out up until the late 70s when they decided to excavate it, and they removed all the like loose soil and stone that was covering this bedrock that has been thrust, after, I guess, like after the glaciers retreated, a lot of bedrock thrust to the surface, like literally rebounded. Like that's how Niagara Falls formed. The part of the land just shot up 200 feet after the glaciers receded. But at this point, 20,000 years ago, there was a mile thick ice that was on this island surface. In fact, I guess all the Great Lakes were carved by glacial forces as well. And I guess when they first uncovered it, they were all polished, like smooth, like marble. And this is the result of like 50 years of weathering because it's uncovered, obviously. But it's just really cool. Like it's insane. You just go hiking and suddenly you're here and there's like 300 feet of these things, and they're like, like very unusually blocky. Like, I mean, they don't take it's like entirely different. If you've been to the Grand Canyon, it's been carved by like water forces. Mm-hmm. It's entirely different. Like this looks like some giant tool marks on the bedrock. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, it's so funny because Kelly's Island is similar to Beaver in that there's only like 300 year-round residents. But unlike Beaver Island, it's just like it's so close to shore, and it only took us like 3.5 hours to get there. It's just so fucking busy, dude. Like it was just like it was wall to wall people stacked up everywhere. On the north side, on the state park of Kelly's Island, they have this big bay. Cecily and I counted like 180 boats that were like just anchored in the harbor having parties and stuff. Yeah, so it would be a cool place to take a boat, but we just kind of went up there to get the lay of the land and decide, because the thing about Beaver Island is it takes 8 hours to get there and a 2-hour ferry trip and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's a fucking hassle.
But it's like, this is not the hassle, but you have to deal with the assholes. So you do hassles or assholes?
Yeah, honestly, I probably deal with the hassle.
Yeah.
Rather than the assholes.
I also found that, so like south of Beaver Island, quite a bit south, but it's still the same. So I guess the archipelago of Beaver Island essentially is this reef that extends like the middle of the Lake Michigan all the way up to like Mackinac Islands. They're essentially the exact same glacial ridge that's erupting out of the lake. There's this North and South Manitou Islands that are really cool, and they have like actually maintained primitive state campgrounds. They have like ranger stations that can give you potable water, and there's lots of hiking and preserve. Like there's several ghost towns that the states actually work to preserve. Unlike the Beaver Island stuff where you're just like, here's a map from 50 years ago. Good luck. Hope you know what poison ivy looks like. Cecily and I are really excited about checking that out next year. But yeah, that was what I did on Labor Day. Cool. I have a pitch to the Bald Move family. We're brainstorming these different like seasonal ideas for content, right? Mm-hmm. I had an idea, and I can't tell if this is a good idea or if this is just essentially masturbation. But we've got like,
are they mutually exclusive?
Yeah, I mean, some people have made quite a great career by masturbating on camera.
Yeah,
I don't think I could get away with that. I don't know. We should try it. Do some A/B testing. Do you prefer Jim or Aaron?
Yeah.
So we got these Blue Yonders, right? These are the first ever podcasts we ever recorded. And they're a monument of how not the podcast. Like, mm-hmm. There's terrible audio quality. There's objectionable content. It's a nice time snap of who we were 8 years ago. And we never really do anything with them. Like, what if for seasonal content, like we took, there's 77 episodes. So you divide it by 7, it's 11. It's 7 seasons of 11 episodes. And we do a listen to it, and then we do a podcast as if we were recovering it like any other piece of pop culture. Like, we talk about the quality, the stuff that still holds up, the stuff that needs work, the stuff that's like, like, I now know that this is offensive and this is why. And these are the things would that be interesting to people? Would that be entertaining, funny type content? I don't know. Cause like I've occasionally wandered into that archive, and there are some gems to be had for sure. first of all, there's this gym, but there's also some like really rough shit. I don't know. I thought if people think that would be interesting, type in the forums or send in feedback wherever you send in feedback, and it's something we're kind of considering here.
Yeah, I imagine it'd be kind of similar to Har Har Riverdale, in that we did a podcast, Rah Rah Riverdale, and then we did a podcast about the podcast.
Yeah,
but that had a little more. We could go into it like saying, hey, let's explain what we were doing.
Right.
Whereas this, I guess we would be explaining a little bit of the background of each episode.
Yeah.
Like some of those episodes, I was looking through Bald Movies the other day. The first one in the feed is a podcast where we were sitting in like a BW3s or something with a phone on the table recording in a loud ass room.
What was that?
Fast and the Furious.
Oh, 4? Fast 4?
Like 5 maybe?
Oh, I thought it might have been 4. But yeah, okay.
I can't remember, but it was years and years ago, and it sounds like shit. And
but it was an experiment, right? We didn't know it would sound like shit until we tried it.
Right. So, like, we could kind of explain the background on that.
Yeah. And there's the infamous, like, we decided
to
drink scotch, smoke cigars, and record on my back patio.
Fucking terrible. Yeah. So we could talk about that experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let us know at 1-800 for Bald Move, or no, like I said, forums at baldmove.com, or again wherever you send in feedback, host at baldmove.com, tweet at us, Facebook at us, whatever. All right, are we ready to get to the people's podcast?
I think so. Yeah.
Do you want to start off?
Let's go with an easy one here. Stacy Johnson says, "Happy birthday, Aaron." Happy birthday.
Oh, I didn't know people remembered that my birthday is roughly around Labor Day.
Mm-hmm. That's the easy one right off the bat.
Yeah, this is kind of like that's their whole impetus for us going, because I told Cecily, it's like, man, I really wish we had like one more sailboat adventure this summer. I wish we had the wherewithal to do it. And then she kind of like did the investigation and the planning, and it was a nice little treat for me. And unfortunately, we didn't do as much sailing as we wanted because the wind was. But no man can control the wind and waves. So thank you for that. My own father didn't. Like, it's so funny. Like, my sister and I were talking. My dad used to call us at least once a week, and he used to wish us happy birthday. And, like, the last 2 years, he stopped. Like, my dad, for many years, was the only person. Like, all throughout, I was Jehovah's Witness. He would call me and do this spiel about, your mother and I, at this such and such a time, was at this. And he wouldn't be like, he'd just be like, hey, I remembered you were born this day. I thought that was, I guess I didn't, I now miss it that it doesn't happen. Huh, yeah. And I don't know, maybe he's I said, do you think he's conducting an experiment to see, like, if he doesn't call us, if we'll call him? Because we are. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, maybe he's just doing, like, he's feeling sorry for himself. I don't know. I'm going to have to ask him.
Maybe he doesn't want to think about birthdays. He's getting up there.
Yeah, it's so true. A man's 72 now.
Don't want reminders of time passing.
Right. And I don't know, he made a big conspicuous thing, like, 2 years ago. It's like, I don't want you guys to buy me Father's Day presents, birthday presents, or Christmas presents anymore. It's just stupid.
Consumerism.
Yeah, no, he's gone on this. Yeah, he's kind of like this. Like, I don't need anything, and I don't want it. Like, so what Valerie and I have been doing is, like, Valerie's giving him like a calendar. She makes a special calendar that has pictures of all of us and the family together, and they're like themed for different months and what's going on. So he seems to appreciate that kind of stuff, personalized stuff.
Yeah.
But like, he just doesn't want like a toolbox or whatever shit we were disappointing him with. All right. So thanks for the birthday. Is that it? Just happy birthday?
Yeah.
All right. Noel from Dallas says he missed us. Thank you. That's always nice to hear. My question: what is the general ambiance of your homes? Certain pieces of furniture or art on the walls, candles, plants, crystals, etc. What does one get?
Crystals?
when they walk into House Hubbard or Jones?
Like targeting, like focusing power and chi?
Yeah.
No, there are no crystals
around here.
There are no crystals. The closest I come to crystals is like I got a glass sculpture that I got when I went to Italy last year. That's the closest I get to crystals.
You brought that back for how big is it?
It's like that big ish,
like Indiana Jones idol size. Okay,
yeah.
Still, that must have been a feat bringing that back. Because you packed for like 2 weeks of international travel and.
Yeah, no, it was. I stuffed my suitcase by the end of it. I had that, and I had some candies. I had just other stuff that I bought. It's like trinkets. I had an ornament that I bought at the museum there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as it's like Jim's basement's very cool. I haven't seen this I hadn't seen the setup for like months and months. Because I don't know. Last time I was over was like February, and then you had the flood.
The flood fucked everything up. The flood at the end of February, and then
You
from
had, like,
March
your house
to like
was
all
like
summer
covered in
was
basement shit, and you guys were all stuff. So like we haven't been over here.
Move everything out, and there was no carpet for months. It was a nightmare.
But you've made this into a real shrine of your era of geekdom, man. Like,
yeah, I'm trying. It's not like exactly how I want it yet, and the studio is really cramping my style here. But,
it's cramping everybody's style.
Yeah, and the lighting is shit, but it'll get there.
But no, it's really I am super impressed with your like NES and Super NES collection.
Yeah, people can't see it, but behind you, or they can't see it well, but behind you, there's like most of my video games are over there. Got I don't know, not a ton of original NES games. I eventually want to get like a complete in-box collection, which is like 800 games, but that's going to take forever. Right now I have something like 80-ish games, 80-ish NES games complete in box. Some good ones. I got a copy of my favorite game, one of my favorite games of all time here, Zelda. Can't see it because lighting shit.
Is that in its original packaging?
Yes.
Wow.
It's got the map with it. It's got the manual. It's got all the inserts and stuff.
Damn.
And the cart itself, that gold, is like completely untarnished. Those are like impossible to find.
No kidding.
Not like all scraped up.
Does it have real value? Like, is that worth like $100 or something?
Yeah, it's probably a little more than 100. I think I paid like 75 for it.
Nice job. So did you know ambience? I mean, I don't know. Like
mine's like half nerdy, half like grown up with like actual furniture.
Yeah.
You know, I try not to go too nerdy with everything.
Yeah, you and Alexis got like normal people furniture, but like if you look closely, the set pieces might be like a 3D printed dragon skull or something.
Right.
But it doesn't jump out as like, oh shit, that's a Samus Aran or something. It's more it's more subtle.
Yeah, I keep that all down here.
Yeah.
This is definitely like the gaming media lounge area.
And our house is just, I don't know, it's pretty normal too. It's got hardwood floors and IKEA furniture. Everything's like that dark IKEA brown wood. We've kind of standardized throughout the house. Pretty simple.
Yours, I would say yours feels like a home. Like it's got a bunch of stuff in it.
Yeah.
And I not like stuff that doesn't seem like it ever gets used. I mean, there's the decorative stuff, obviously, like candles and pictures and shit like that, but you have like a lot of stuff that I think you use often.
Yeah.
It's just kind of tucked into every corner and cranny.
Yeah. We have, it's a little busy, I think, for both Cecily and I's taste, but with the kid and like all our different interests and, keeping it as like squared away as we want. Like we try to strike a happy balance between keeping things neat and tidy and also like doing shit all the time. So, anyway, I hope that answers the question. Like, it's not like we don't live in mansions, but we also don't have just like giant fantasy adult playlands either.
Right.
We're like normal people.
Okay, Ted K says, do you guys put Sam Esmail on the same level as the Villigan, the Wiener, and Damon Lindelof? I feel like we need a nickname for Lindelof. We don't have one. We've got the Wiener and we've got the Villigan.
Yeah, the demon. Damien.
Maybe. I don't know if that one's gonna stick, but
the Omen. The big DL.
I don't know. What do you think? Sam Esmail versus Villigan, the Wiener, and
I think
Lindelof.
The difference between those guys is Esmail does not have a successful landed series under his belt. He has got a series with a lot of promise that had a real rough rocky patch. And has a lot of big ideas. Can he bring that in can he stick the landing? Kind of like imagine if Vince had done 3 awesome seasons of Breaking Bad and maybe season 2 had some problems, but then season 4 just like fucked up. It was just terrible and it was widely held as like garbage, right? That would have changed your perception of Vince Gilligan, right?
Yeah.
So I think Esmail needs that. He needs to be able, just like Matthew Weiner, it's like, okay, this has all been great, but can you bring Mad Men in for a successful landing? Can you bring Mr. Robot in for successful landing? I think that's something that Noah Hawley kind of has over him as well, if you want to throw him in the conversation, because each season of Fargo is something that's distinct and you can judge it success or failure on its own merits. That anthology is kind of nice that way. So I don't think yet, but like when he gets done with Mr. Robot, circle back and we can talk then. Let's see. Kuman from Kansas City. I recently watched the Dallas Buyers Club. Great movie, by the way. I agree. I saw it in theaters. Looked for some random facts afterwards. Apparently, McConaughey lost 47 pounds for the role and stayed indoors in his house for 6 months to become paler. When he reached as low as 143 fucking pounds.
How tall is he?
Can you look that up while I'm reading this?
Yeah.
His eyesight began to fail. And I remember reading about how Heath Ledger prepared for his role and how mind-blowing that was. It's pretty crazy the physical and mental tolls some of these actors put themselves through for a role. I guess my question is, when you're watching a movie with really good performance or after you watch it, do you ever think about the preparation the actor did for the role? Seems like we only look at the glamour side of Hollywood, but reading some of these things makes me realize some of the actors sacrifice to make a good performance, and it's impressive. Yeah, I mean, I do. Yeah, I definitely think about, like, if you want, another one is like a truly amazing transformation is
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale going from Batman to the Machinist to Batman. Yeah. Like swinging that much mass up and down, like, yeah. And the other thing is, like, you have to understand, who's the guy that is Mac on Always Sunny?
Rob McElhenney.
He posted something on Instagram where it showed, like, him at his guttiest, his most mass intensive, and then, like, I guess going in this season, he is ripped and shredded. And he posted a picture of, like, his abs and his chest and his arms, and is like, I don't know why everybody doesn't do this. It's so easy. All you got to do is lift 6 days a week. You have to have a chef inspired, like, you have to have a meal planner and a trainer, and you have to, like, be hungry all the time and drink 6 gallons of water every day and run 3 miles every. It's like, it's so easy. I don't know why everyone doesn't, and you have to, like, essentially work your fitness as a job. But that's the thing, like, it is impressive, but these guys get 6-7 months to do that. Like, Chris Pratt hires some Navy SEAL to whip his ass into Star-Lord shape.
Yeah.
I wish I had a job where, like, for 8 months someone just said, get in the best shape of your life.
Yeah.
Get in optimum shape. That's all you got to do. You don't have to do anything else. You just have to fucking spend 8 hours a day in the gym and eating right and all that stuff. I would gladly do it. I would love that opportunity. I've always wondered, like, what I would look like in peak fucking physical condition, and not really.
It's easy. All you got to do is work
right,
out,
exactly
3 hours a day, 6 days a week.
You have to essentially live like a professional
diet.
athlete, and unfortunately, my job involves way too much sitting on my ass.
Matthew McConaughey is 5'11".
140.
That's not that tall for 143.
It's almost 6 foot tall for 143. That's like gotta be 40 pounds below what you would consider a healthy weight.
I mean,
his eyesight failed Jim.
I think he did it too fast. I think that was the problem.
Yeah.
Because I was 145 and I'm like 5'8", 9". That's a few inches on me, but not much. And I was all muscle. Like, you shed all your muscle, and I could have gotten to like 120 something if I looked like he looked.
All right, challenge.
I'm not getting into Dallas Buyers Club shape.
You get between now and Christmas to look like an AIDS-stricken patient.
Oh, God. What's easier?
You got to go down to Mexico. So you go down to Mexico not to buy drugs, to drink the water.
Okay, yeah.
And so that's going to give you a full month colonic.
And by toxins, I mean healthy vitamins and muscle mass, yes.
Yeah. You do that, and you come back, hopefully with like a tapeworm or parasite, and by Christmas, you will be looking like the ghost of Christmas future.
But I won't know it because I can't see myself.
That's true. You'll be blind.
Yeah.
You'll be blind. And probably like lose a little bit of mental acuity. But no, it is impressive. I think of like Linda Hamilton in the Terminator 2. Like, she fucking really worked her ass off. I think about the Keanu Reeves, who essentially has acquired the skills of John Wick to film John Wick.
his gun skills are
like he's
top-notch.
legitimately terrifying with a lot of different firearms. He knows various forms of kung fu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He's in peak physical condition. Like he's essentially like, you know what? If I'm gonna be this generic action star the rest of my life, I'm gonna get really, really fucking good at it. It is impressive the amount of work and Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, you know, didn't we read for Last of the Mohicans? He just went and essentially took a tomahawk into the woods and like fucking made himself a cabin and only lived off the land. Like they do, the top tier people that get the big money, they do tend to take it serious.
Yeah, I think the quintessential example of it is Gerard Butler in 300.
Yeah.
Like that kind of started that whole thing, at least in my mind, where like you hire a personal trainer and you just get fucking ripped and buff, and that's what you did for that movie.
Yeah, because it used to be that you'd let, like, you know, Michael Keaton gets cast in Batman. Michael Keaton's not gaining mass.
No.
He's going to gain rubber muscles.
Yeah.
But he's not going to, like, you know, work to get himself in peak physical condition. That's like, you know, that's not acceptable for superheroes now. I mean, you look at the various Chris's in Hollywood and they're all fucking impressive physical specimens.
Except for Chris Pine, he's lagging behind because
Is
he
he?
just has to play. He's had to play William Shatner,
Yeah,
which doesn't require much in the
who
way of physical
famously
fitness.
wore a toupee and a girdle in his prime. So he's the Babe Ruth of acting. He just smoked cigars and
He just points to the camera.
ate 32-ounce porterhouses, and he called a shot and he said, strap me into this corset, light me, throw some Vaseline on the lens. Let's go.
Magic.
Fuck this Orion slave girl right now. All right, your turn.
Poor Isham says, I've really enjoyed seeing the live watches on Twitch lately. If I can't watch them live, does it still help you out somehow if I watch them later? I mean, really, it's about helping you out. Like, do you enjoy them?
Yeah.
If so, watch them later. Yeah, I don't feel like you have to participate live.
Yeah.
Also, you can't anymore because we're shutting that stuff down.
Yeah, we are mothballing the Twitch thing to retool what we're doing because we tried video games. I mean, here's the thing. We consistently promoted through various means, mostly our podcast. Maybe we could have got more in social media and stuff like that, but we consistently promoted something that had live real-time interaction with us for about 6 months in to an audience of at least 100,000 unique listeners. And we, you know, would get 20 to 30 people to show up for these streams and maybe 100, 150 people watching after the fact, which tells me that there just isn't any interest in the Twitch platform amongst the rank and file Bald Move, because Bald Move looks a lot like us and there aren't a lot of Gen Xers. Like Gen Xers are just on the other side of the hill that like is really into Twitch. And I understand there's exceptions. I'm one of them. But I'm also a recent convert. I, up until last November, thought Twitch was entirely stupid. I understand why anybody would watch a video if they had time, precious time to play a video game. Why would you take that and watch someone else play a video game? You know, and I've since seen the error of my ways, but like it just didn't work out. And we are I think we're still going to do live watches, but we're going to do them on something that we've already established, like YouTube, and do it that way. So again, I think we will be doing stuff on Twitch, but it's not going to be regularly scheduled. It's going to be like, hey, this particular event like we did for Groundhog's Day, or hey, we're going to play a couple of days worth of Red Dead Revolver, Red Dead 2, something like that. It's not going to be like every 2 or 3 times a week we're going to be doing it. So anything else to add to that? I
mean, our plan is to use that extra time for club content, which
yes,
we've already, like this week and next week, we've slated a whole bunch of Empire Business stuff. We're trying to get those out starting here next week.
Yeah.
Monday, we're going to have our first, seasonal club content, right? That Empire Business stuff. The first one, the club update, is going to drop on Monday, assuming I can get it all edited and uploaded by then. And yeah, we're taking the time that we would spend on Twitch to benefit the club members. Yeah,
because that's the thing, that Twitch was taking 4 to 6 hours out of our week and an awkward time slot for our schedule.
And an awkward time slot for everyone involved. So screw that. We're going to get content that we can stockpile and then release to the club members.
Because that's the other thing. If we started doing like streams at 9 p.m. Eastern, we'd probably be more successful. But like, our families would not be happy.
No, we're already giving up an instant talk evening
and the movie
a movie night
at least
so,
every other week. So
like 4 out of our 7 evenings every week are going to be working.
Yeah.
In addition to all day during the week. No,
right.
no,
yeah,
that's too much.
Murder Bear from Cold Spring, Kentucky. As a boatsman, what are your thoughts on jet skis and sea-doos? I got to spend the weekend on Lake Norris, Tennessee with my family, and I just wonder if the people who have to deal with them all the time come to resent them. I mean, I guess they're like motorcycles of the water, and even as a rider of those, I know there's plenty of jerk asses that give good riders a bad name. Have you ever had any annoying encounters with one, or maybe even speedboats? As a operator of a sailboat, power boaters are giant assholes, or it's super inconsiderate. But I understand that, like, I'm essentially what are those old timey bicycles with the giant wheel? Like I'm that on the water, and I kind of assume that boaters barely know the right of way rules, and they certainly don't know the fact that essentially sailboats trump everything in right of way. So I just assume that they're going to cut me off and cause a problem and throw a giant wake at me that I'm going to have to go out of my way to cross instead of having it it's just like, yeah, I get it. And, big popular bodies of water on big popular weekends are just, it's like going down to Deal's Gap on a Saturday in the summer. Like, there's going to be 1,000 motorcycles on that road, and it's going to be dangerous. But those things are fucking fun. They're water motorcycles. They're things you can go 60 miles an hour, and if you wreck on the water. Like, they're fucking rad. I love them. I think they're freaking. There's so much fun. I can see myself owning one or two in a few years if I had the cash to burn, because I don't have any interest in getting a power boat, but a jet ski that you could tow like a rider behind, that seems like a lot of fun. Have you done a jet ski ever?
I've never been on one.
They are so much fucking fun, man. They're getting insane to rent.
Seems like it. Oh, are they?
Like a couple hours will set you back $300. So
Jesus.
it's a premium, but it is kind of a it's something someone should try at least once in their life.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would also say maybe power boaters don't understand sailboats.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like not even that. Like, oh, maybe like you need to go out of your way for a wake, but like, oh, you can't just turn on a dime,
right.
Or oh, I can't fucking stop this thing,
right?
Or,
right. I can't just point my wheel in another direction and take off. Like it's a process to change direction.
Yeah. Whereas they just crank the fucking motor over and they're gone.
And there's a lot of drink. I mean, you're not supposed to, but there's a lot of drinking involved. There's a lot of people not making great decisions, and you just have to. It's just like camping. You have to plan that. I've been thinking about this, like. Is this like societal decay? Is this something that can be, because like, the whole time I'm like, maybe I should like, the thing is like, but the old Aaron, like 10 years ago, I would have come out of my tent breathing fire at those folks at 2:30 in the morning and probably, gotten into an altercation. And that's not a fun way to live your life. But it also sucks that like, people are just shitty and they don't have any courtesy, or they don't have any kind of appropriate, like what I would consider social mores. But they're also like the type of people who do that are kind of trashy anyway. And like, if you get in their face, like they don't got anything to lose. So I guess like also we're animals, right? Like if I was in the jungle and I'm an animal that sleeps at night and there is a hyena like screaming at the thicket next to me, I got no recourse. I can pick up and move, or I can go fight him. But like sometimes, like I wonder, like maybe it's my expectations that are out of whack. Like I should just bring earplugs. I mean, I think you got to draw a line. Like if someone comes and like pisses on your tent, okay, that's okay. Call the park rangers, fight, whatever you got to do. But like if someone's just being loud and inconsiderate, and I can wear earplugs and avoid that, then why don't? Isn't that my problem? Where do you come down on that?
I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, we're more than animals. We have a society that has certain expectations and rules, and that benefits us all.
Yes.
And I think there are contracts that come along with that, and one of those contracts is not to fucking make noise that would upset people after a certain hour.
Especially at a campground that, especially campground that has quiet hours. You know, like you're not supposed to make noise between 10 and 6 a.m., for example.
Yeah, I think those people fucked up, and they planned poorly.
Yes.
And they should suffer the consequences, not everyone else.
Right. But then that's the other thing is, like, I think, like, okay, like, I don't know. The other thing is, like, I start thinking about, like, the ripple effects. Like, this family, like, has got some problems, I can tell. All right?
Okay.
What's the odds that one of these guys got a warrant? And, like, what if I call because they're being jerk asses and stuff, and, you know, then, like, do I get to see, like, white trash 5 and 3-year-olds get their daddy taken away because, you know, he got lippy with the park and he's got warrant?
Right.
Like, I mean, I do worry about that stuff. Like, if I really think long and hard before I call the cops nowadays. Because I don't have faith that they're going to de-escalate and handle things appropriately. And a guy, you know, if the wrong things break wrong way, I don't know. Like I guess I'm not saying I would feel responsible. I wouldn't lose sleep, but I guess I would feel bad, and that's kind of contributing to the jerk ass quotient of society. Because now what happens? I don't know. I don't have any. I guess my solution is wear earplugs and save the confrontations for, like, genuine physical threats or severe property threats, maybe.
Sure.
But anyway, because like I said, I used to be a lot more confrontational, and I didn't feel like it made me a happier, healthier person. So it's your turn, I believe.
Let's see. Nathan Stinson wants to know. Man, you people are all the day late, $1 short. Can I request the pilot episode of Lost to be done as a live watch on Twitch? No, you cannot. No, you cannot, for various reasons, actually.
That's a great episode, though.
It is,
the pilot. That's one of the great pilots of all time, and you like a notorious Lost hater. Aaron has nothing but respect for that fucking pilot. That whole first season sucked me in so hard. Mm-hmm. It's a really great season of television, and yeah, I'll stop talking now.
But no, we're not doing live watches on Twitch. We never really took requests. There's a lot of reasons why we can't do that.
Yeah. Josh from Omaha. Next weekend, my commute is dropping from an hour each way to about 6 or 7 minutes.
Nice.
What have been your longest, roughest commutes to work, and how about your shortest, easiest? And how much did the longer commutes take a toll on you? Dude.
A lot.
Yeah, like I used to drive from Mooresville to Fishers,
yep.
which was an hour to hour and 20 minutes of hell, because it seems like somewhere I was like hitting every part of the 465 dial, and there was always construction, there was always an accident.
You're doing it necessarily during the rush hours.
Yeah. And like that's when I started getting into like podcasts. Because I'm getting way too, and I just plan to arrive like 20 to 30 minutes early at my job, and I'd use that time to do whatever. And I would listen to podcasts and just kind of chill and try to be as zen about it as possible. But it's still like doing that, and then like I moved in the same neighborhood my next job was in, and I had like a 2-minute driving commute. I could bike in 5. That's kind of essentially what I had at the old Bald Move studio. Like more than 20-minute commutes are a fucking life sucker, I think. Like 2 hours a day of your life, 5 days a week, not being productive, just transporting your ass somewhere so you can do work to get paid. It seems crazy. And I think, I don't know, like some people, like that's my sister, she does that because she wants to live out in the country, like not in the suburbs, the country. And like she's willing to trade that big, vast chunks of her life so she can live out in the country. And that's okay, but man, it ain't me. It ain't me. I'd rather go camping once a month out in the country and leave all that bullshit behind.
Yeah, I had roughly the same commute. I was living in Mooresville and working up at the Keystone area. That's minimum 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you hit traffic or construction or Any delays, you're going to be there for an hour at least.
The whole holiday season, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Because
a
like
nightmare.
that was like me. Because once you got on 69, you had the Allisonville traffic, you had the Keystone traffic, you had the mall traffic. 69 has its own like strip mall. It was insane. It's insane.
Yeah, I lived up there for a while. It was nasty. Yeah, I will not do that again.
Yeah. You're gonna enjoy it so much, and just being able to like if you being able to run home to like grab a bite to eat, or like you let your dog out, or like, oh shit, I must have must have left this shirt in the dryer too long. It kind of smells funky. You can just go home and fix that shit.
Yeah, I made it kind of a philosophy to live as close as possible to work for a while.
Yeah.
And I lived in a couple of instances literally across the street.
Yeah,
for my job.
yeah.
I would roll out of bed at 8:50 and be at my job at 9 o'clock. That kind of thing.
Shower
and then
the
I'd
night
come home.
before, or you just stank?
No, and then I'd come home like for an early lunch, take a shower, and then go back to work, like that kind of thing.
So yeah, you finally woke up at noon.
Pretty much, yeah. No, but like that was. I really, really enjoyed that. Like living downtown, that's when I didn't even have a car.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
uh-huh.
living downtown, just walking everywhere, living right across the street from my job, that was great.
Yeah. All right, your turn.
John Matthew says, Aaron,
Mm.
on Bald TV, you couldn't think of your third favorite show this year. Was it Legion? Heard you
Oh,
gave it
yes.
praise throughout the year.
Yes. Fucking Legion was exquisite. And also it scratched that I've never seen anything like this before itch.
Yeah.
So like it was big concept. It's beautiful to look at. It was well acted, very intriguing dialogue and set pieces, and I loved the that absolutely is the third show I was trying to think of. So good looking out. D from Australia, would you generally consider artsy fartsy in the context of talking about films to be a derogatory term?
Generally, yes. I think when someone calls something artsy fartsy, it's generally to say that it's a little bit up its own ass.
But I think artsy fartsy is also a genre. Like the stuff I see at my local theater is almost always artsy fartsy. The Little Stranger was an artsy fartsy horror film, but I don't think it's a slur because I do like things that are artsy fartsy. But
but I think generally that saying is negative.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not very pretentious about anything. So like, if someone wants to say, "Oh, you're gonna see an artsy fartsy," I just laugh and be like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" But I sometimes I'm a big self-deprecator, so like I'll even volunteer the fact that I'm seeing an artsy fartsy film. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm trying to reclaim it, trying to reclaim the derogatory term from the. I mean. It's like that's the other thing. It's like if someone doesn't like artsy fartsy films, what does that mean? They only like PG-13 Adam Sandler films. They only like superhero films.
Mainstream.
They only like mainstream. Yeah. Like, yeah, I don't know. And like, there's like you're seeing the injection of artsy fartsy into those forms. Like, I think The Last Jedi was kind of an artsy fartsy Star Wars film. I've seen I don't know. I guess I've never seen an artsy-fartsy Marvel film. I was trying to think, like, would I consider Doctor Strange or... I mean, it's weird, but it's not artsy-fartsy.
Yeah.
Ang Lee made an artsy-fartsy Hulk film. Absolutely. That was before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but that first Hulk film was, I would consider artsy-fartsy. So, yeah. I mean... If it's got the word fart in it, it's derogatory.
Yeah, that's kind of my thinking.
Yeah, but I like farts too, so it's an art form. You share it with everybody. Jim, your turn.
Okay, speaking of artsy fartsy, Kuman07 asks, are the best food joints the ones that only accept cash and have those old-timey menu boards behind the register with only one booth and two tables in the place? I believe this to be true.
I don't know if that's true or not, but those are almost always a front. Like, come on, one booth and cash only.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're selling. I don't know what they're selling out the back, but it's not takeout food.
Nope.
I mean, yeah, like in general, holes in the wall. Like I think there's a bias to it, right? Because I always liked the bread ladies back in Greenfield till they went out of business because it's like something only you know about. There's a little bit of a hipster, a scenester kind of vibe in that, and you know it's because is the food objectively better than, XYZ? I don't know. I'm trying to think. A lot of the places that I can describe, like Mazunta's, is kind of a hole in the wall, but it's insanely popular. It's like the worst kept secret in all of Cincinnati. Every time you ask where's the best tacos in Cincinnati and r/Cincinnati, Mazunta's will be the top result. So what is a real, I like Carl's Cafe. That's kind of like a hidden gem. They have really good sandwiches. But I feel like a lot of that is in the context of like a particular ethnic food. These are really good these are really good tacos, or these are really good noodles, or, that kind of stuff. And I haven't really found a good one of those in Cincinnati other than Mazunta's. But then again, that doesn't really meet your cash only criteria.
Right. I don't know. I think like a lot of people fetishize places like that.
Right.
Where they will proclaim that those are in fact the best types of restaurants, and I'm sure you can get good food at those places, and I've been to places that have really, really good food.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they have an exclusive license to make the really, really good food, though.
Yeah.
They don't have the monopoly on really great food, because I've been to restaurants that are extremely popular, not holes in the walls, have tens and tens of tables.
Tens.
Of
Dozens.
tables? I mean...
Yeah, no. It's just funny to say tens and tens.
what place is going to have more than like 100
million
tables?
They have a legion.
Right.
A full legion of their finest tables.
And they have awesome food, so those places, I feel like the reason those places are special is because they're typically less expensive. They're not quite as popular, and therefore they don't have the demand where they can charge like a ton of money and take reservations and exclude people, that kind of thing.
Moving on to Preserved Killick from Tucson, Arizona. After listening to Jim talk about how much he can't stand doing the same kind of thing again and again, I wondered about how that meshes with your decisions to rewatch the whole Game of Thrones series. Obviously, it's a big revenue source, and I'm personally glad you returned to that well, but has it been more of a labor this time around? I'll let you answer this since it's your thing.
No, I don't think it's been any more of a labor than doing the same kind of TV podcast that we've been doing for 8 years now.
Yeah.
Like, it's that stuff that I had never podcasted before. So it's not like, oh, I got to go back and do this thing again. And we're not I don't know if people are aware of this, but we're not doing seasons 4 through 8.
Yeah, we're
again.
stopping.
Yeah, we're done after this next episode. So with the back catalog stuff. So no, I mean it was still fresh because I never podcasted it.
So when you I think the misconception here is like you are broadly talking about the Bald Move format is what you like the
recap,
what did you think,
analysis,
and the recap,
feedback,
and the feedback, and it's the same thing every single time.
And the process of researching it, like, oh, I watched the episode, I take my notes, I go to Reddit, I watch the episode again, I fill in my notes, I do the it gets repetitive and monotonous at some point.
It's because obviously it's like I don't feel the same way because I feel like I would feel that way if I was stuck doing the same show or the same type of show. But to me, changing from science fiction to a serious drama to that provides me like new characters and new situations and new ways to look at it. Like to me, I could give a fuck about the format. In fact, it's annoying to me to change the format a lot because that changes my process, and I like having the consistent process that yields the idea factory, right? So like that's one of the central tensions in Bald Move. Jim, who wants to innovate and change things, and me, who wants to just fucking just do the analysis because that's what I think is interesting. And unfortunately, it's like there's only so much even if I said Jim's go crazy, like there's only so much you can innovate in this format without risk alienating fans anyway. I mean, we could get artsy fartsy.
Right, I don't want to change everything up.
We'll do a silent podcast where we just we gesture at each other.
That's a good idea.
And you can hear the air, the change in pressure as we move our hands around and we bob our heads and we. But yeah, nobody like that would be super interesting, and the troll and Jim would probably find it funny. But no one else would.
No, fuck no.
Right? So like we try. I mean, the core content. is boring, which is why we're trying to do in the margins of Bald Move something that's different, so we can scratch both of those itches simultaneously, hopefully. Dummy has a question. First question has two questions. Empire business soon? Yes, as we talked, we're going to do like a 1 a week release schedule. It's not going to be like a 1 a month. It's going to be like bam, 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 like
Yeah.
And we've got like 8 different topics right now, so it's going to be a nice little 6 to 8 episode season that'll probably take us into our Christmas type of schedule. Yeah, we're pretty excited about it. Second question: if someone sent you a full size sex doll, whoa. All right.
There better not be a full-size sex doll showing up at, well, A, at our office, because it won't be there much longer.
Forward at the Jim's house for sure.
B, I don't need that in my
I will
life.
accept a full-size sex doll. I mean, those things are like $5,000 on the open market. You can flip it for half at least. Brand new, not used.
A used sex doll?
Not
No.
used. I wouldn't use that. What kind of asshole? What am I, guys going to show up 2:30 at a campground and set up at the...
Don't pretend like you're not using that sex doll at least once.
Would you fuck a real doll if given the opportunity?
I'd give it a shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I would too. Absolutely.
Just for the experience. Like I like new experiences. That would be new.
Yeah.
Certainly new.
Yeah. Because they're like crazy. They got titanium endoskeletons and shit. Like,
got some bad wigs and some really weird facial stuff going on.
Yeah. I'd give it I'd definitely give it a shot. So anyway,
I had some other comment that you derailed.
Let's get to the question. You said you didn't
all
want
I can
someone
think
to
about
send
is
it to
fucking
you.
a sex doll. What?
You didn't want someone to send it to you.
No.
That's paradoxical because you said you'd fuck it if it came. Let me ask you this: someone sent us one sex doll.
Oh no.
Could we do a top half, bottom half sharing session? Like, okay, I'll stick to the north side, you stick to the south side. You wouldn't be interested in that?
I don't know that I could trust that you wouldn't have the full experience.
It's funny because I remember the Because Show women, they got offered a Sybian.
Oh,
and there was
right.
To me, like, I don't know.
To like review on the show.
Yeah, because they were talking about a lot of sex stuff, and like, I guess like if you got, I don't see what the problem is. Like, can a machine be cleaned or not? You know, like,
I mean, this was their exact hang up too. It was like, who gets to use it first?
I just don't understand. Like, to me, like, if you like, that's like, it'd be one thing if like you just dropped it off like leaking fluids and stuff at my house.
But I mean, like, we're talking nooks and crannies in this thing.
You got
this is not
get
exactly
a garden hose, get some alcohol, some isopropyl alcohol, some hydrogen peroxide. Like, there's got to be a way you
get a flamethrower.
You could sandblast this silicone uterus to where it could be reused. You're living in another person's house.
I don't think they include uteruses yet. I don't think you can actually impregnate a real doll.
We haven't gotten the guy's question.
Hate to burst your bubble.
We
would make it the third person on the podcast. We would have a third camera. We'd set up a camera only for the real doll.
Yeah, you guys have said that you're tired of this being Sausage Fest, so we brought a woman, not a real woman.
Jesus.
We brought a literal sex object into the studio as our
Christ.
third. Yeah, that would not be good.
No.
All right. If someone sent you a life-size sex doll replica of the person sitting across from you, how many times do you fuck it? We all know the answer isn't 0.
No, my answer is 0. I have no desire to fuck an Aaron sex doll.
A little. Yeah, I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
It does not interest me in the least. I'm sorry. No offense to my co-host, but that's just not the type of relationship we have.
None taken. Little, like, little tear rolling down my cheek.
Yeah, sorry.
Plague Skill. My question's mainly to Aaron since Jim hasn't read the Harry Potter books, but how would you rank the Harry Potter novels?
0. All zeros.
I want to go like 4, 5, 6, 3, 7, 2, 1 in order of best to worst. Because those first 2 books are pretty rough. They're pretty kiddie books. They start getting good around Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire, and I think my favorite film is Prisoner of Azkaban, hands down. My favorite book is probably somewhere in Goblet of Fire or Order of Phoenix territory. But yeah, my film order would be slightly different, but in books, that I think that's it. He also said, "Are you guys excited for Serial Season 3? They just released a trailer for that on the Serial feed. I noticed it popped up, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I haven't seen what the topic is.
It looks to be a different number of cases based in the Cleveland criminal justice system. So her thesis this year is she's going to live in a courtroom and like consider the justice system as a whole, like its emphasis on plea bargaining, overall police misconduct and prosecutorial misconduct. And they picked a court district in Cleveland that allows you to record anywhere in the thing, even judges' chambers. So as a person who cares a lot for criminal justice reform, you know, like I'd be more inclined to call the cops on the fucking asshole neighbors if I didn't think they would get hauled off for potentially years and years and years and ruin their life over it. I'm very excited about, cause you look at like Adnan, you look at that doofus, up at Manitou, cause like, regardless of what you think is innocent or guilty, he is definitely a doofus. Bad, they always say like bad cases make bad law, and I like those things because they kind of agreed with the way I think, but like I would much more appreciate a systematic look to see like all different types of justice that we see or lack thereof in our society. So I'm excited for it.
Seems like a weird thing for Serial to do.
Yeah, and I do feel like that she's kind of been flailing around to find the magic in the bottle, because season 2 wasn't well received, although I thought that the second half of season 2 is amazing and really genuinely insightful about
nobody
geopolitics.
made it to the second half is a problem.
Right.
I know I didn't.
Because like Bo Bergdahl was supposed to be the Trojan horse, but he's more of like a Trojan condom you'd find in the park. Like, oh God, I don't want
you'd find in your podcasting host buddy's used sex doll.
Yeah,
when he drops it off at your house.
It's not what you want. It's not what you want to see. So I am curious to see if they are able to, especially like with the success of Shittown, which was. Did you ever listen to Shittown?
No, I didn't.
It was like another, but that was a singular story about a particular place and time and a particular individual, like trying to do something interesting with the Bush and Obama era foreign policy in Afghanistan, which is essentially season 2 of Serial. Is a lot harder. Doing just a general investigation into the criminal justice system in Cleveland, Ohio is much harder than this young man is wrongly accused and here's the facts and you can fight about it and argue about it.
Yeah, and I understand the impulse to try and do something bigger and better.
Yeah.
And even just different for the sake of different, but that's not why your audience tuned in, Like, there's a reason I still continue to do 8 years later.
I was about to make that same thing.
These TV podcasts in the same format. It's because the audience loves them.
Sarah Koenig is a Jim.
Yeah.
She's like, fuck
she's a Jim who decided, you know what? I got so big so fast, I just don't give a fuck. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do or something. Or, I mean, she's been in radio forever. It's not like that's her first rodeo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It seems like a weird thing for the Serial podcast, but maybe they're simply trying to evolve what Serial is. Yeah. Because honestly, like they're in a place where they have the resources to do something bigger. Like, okay, maybe some of these smaller outfits can go and do a Shittown podcast and focus on a single story and get all the info there and lay it out beautifully. But we could do something bigger and better. Yeah,
because it'd be the easiest thing in the world for them to just like hook up with the Innocence Project and cherry pick the best one and just shine a spotlight on it, and it's boom,
year after year.
And they obviously don't want to do that. They want to do something different. So
I wish them luck with that. I'll probably tune in for this one just to see what it's all about. But
I'm very curious about it. So we will see. Texas. Oh wait, is your turn?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I got stuff. Well, this might be pointless. Nathan Stinson wants to know: are you guys doing fantasy football this year? If so, how does one have a chance to be a part of the league, or do you do game pick'em groups or similar?
Hatorian organizes all that, and my understanding is the leagues are full.
Yeah.
That shit fills up pretty early in August. But I think there was only 2 leagues this year. Last year there was 3 leagues, so. Just look out next year and see what Hatorian's got going on. He usually has a fantasy football thread that he starts, so that's where it gets recruited from. I don't have the time to participate or run it, so I'm glad Hatorian steps up and does that for him or for us. Let's see. Texas Sandman. What's your best nap spot? Bed, couch, recliner, etc. Also, what's the optimum length of nap for you?
No naps. Fuck naps. Naps make it impossible for me to sleep in the evenings.
I'm a couch guy, and the crucial thing is you can't go past 30.
I know.
Like
I can't do it though.
Like today, like I got up at 5:20 to get my son ready for school, and right around 9:30, I could tell I was gonna have a real hard time crashing. So I hit the couch at 10 and set my alarm for 10:25, and felt much better. But you go past that magic 30-minute window where you get into REM sleep, and like you said, like Jim says, you start fucking up your night. And that's like a once a week, maybe once every other week thing for me. I think you can. I think it's entirely possible to do a nap a day, but you got to watch that you don't get that sleep inertia set in. Back to you.
Get that micro sleep going.
Yeah.
All right.
Have you ever tried like an Edison schedule?
I considered it, but it has never been possible given that I've had a fucking job my whole life, like it's just incompatible with living a life.
I did a couple times, and I think it might suit some people's schedule, but like I honestly don't. I think it's a myth. I don't think Edison really just slept 30 minutes every 7 hours. I don't think you can. I don't think the human body can sustain that. I was very interested in the 6-day work week because like that. My biological clock tends to drift about an hour a week. And like, if I was insanely rich and didn't give a shit about the environment or giving back to the community, I think I would have a house in all 24 time zones, and I would just each week.
You'd be the guy from Contact, just flying through space.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, trying to cure his cancer by staying on the moon.
I would just hop a time zone west every week, and I would always be my perfect self, waking up at 7 a.m. and going to bed at like 11 o'clock at night or whatever, and but like as it is, I usually have to.
I think that's what Tom Cruise does. He hasn't aged because he literally hasn't aged.
Me and Cecily are trying this thing where we're both. She doesn't have to do the thing, but we're both getting up at like she gets up with me to take Jack to school. Sometimes we have breakfast together or whatever. Sometimes we watch a TV show or something. But we're trying to this thing where we're getting on the schedule and we're staying on it, and it's yielding pretty good results. It's still a struggle on the weekends because we naturally want to stay up later and we want to sleep in. But like, I don't know. It's safe to say I'm reevaluating a lot of things I'm doing in my life, as far as my diet, as far as my exercise, as far as my sleep hygiene. And like, I'm starting to think that staying up late and sleeping in like once or twice a week is the equivalent of just binging junk food for my body. And that like it's a far healthier way to just be like, whatever your schedule is, just cleave to that. And unless, because obviously every once in a while you're going to have to go outside of it. But
yeah.
Like it's always rough. Honestly, now the worst parts of my week are when we're doing the live or like the instant takes or the movies, because like I'm minimum in bed at like 11:30 and getting 6 hours of sleep's not enough. Yeah. So that's why I took a nap today. That's why I took a nap. Is it your turn? I think it's your turn.
Okay. Christian Barclay says, next time you need to run a Save Bald Move campaign, which will hopefully be never, since we've
done fucked up if that happens.
At this point. Yeah. He says, here's a thought. Get Elon Musk on and smoke a blunt with him, and you'll go worldwide in hours.
That's the Joe Rogan plan?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he actually, I thought that was Photoshop, because I thought that Elon Musk famously doesn't admit to doing drugs. So
I don't know.
He actually got him to smoke a blunt on. This might be the first Joe Rogan experience I've watched in 4 years.
There you go. It works.
Because the other thing is like, I have never done a turnaround faster, like outside of the Me Too movement, on a person than Elon Musk in the last 3 months. Like, it seems like he's lost his fucking mind.
That's what happens when you sleep an hour a night.
Yeah, maybe.
We're talking about less than 6.
He keeps the Tesla schedule, which is it's like the Edison, only half as much as sleep.
He's doing the reverse. He's flying backwards 1 hour every day in the time zones.
I mean, he just, wow, it seems to really not deal well with criticism. And I mean, because like we were like sucking his dick so hard after he launched that Roadster into space, And I still do admire a lot of things he's trying to do, but like, man, I really, he seems like he's another in a long line of assholes like Edison, like Steve Jobs, like name any billionaire you want to name that like just when you really get in the nitty gritty, they're not very nice people. They're not nice people.
Yeah, I mean they move the waters in society. That's for sure.
And the thing is, I think that
yeah,
there is. It seems like it's a popular conception that you have to be an asshole to amass that kind of wealth, but I don't. It's kind of like they used to say you had to be an asshole. Like I used to buy into that. Like Bobby Knight, great, he's the battlefield general. Blah, you got to have that kind of maniacal. Like it's Bill Belichick's, it's the Bobby Knights of the world to get things done. But then like we had Tony Dungy, who was a great coach, took us to a Super Bowl, and nice, meek, humble, not a pushover. And Vince Gilligan, who is assertive but not an asshole. Like I just feel like the guys that are doing it the quote unquote right way don't get a lot of press because they don't go seeking it.
Yeah, I look at like a guy like Shigeru Miyamoto, right? The creator of Mario. Like he's the nicest guy on the fucking planet,
right.
And he's also one of the biggest influences on video games. Period.
Right.
So,
right.
Like I don't know,
Fred Rogers, same thing.
Yeah,
like there are examples of people who are nice and respectful and easy to work with and are stupidly successful. Why don't we emulate that? Why are we always looking for the Bond villains?
I look at like the later years, Bill Gates, and I know that's not a great example because it seems like he was kind of an asshole when he was making his money.
I do love I made my billions on cutthroat monopolistic practices, but I'm trying to solve AIDS in Africa now, which is great. Right. But
that's great for now. But what about 30 years ago? Yeah.
All right. InCat wants to know, what are your thoughts on the Nike ad with Colin Kaepernick?
What's Nike?
Nike.
Okay.
I'm of two minds.
I haven't seen it.
So they're building their whole ad campaign around Colin Kaepernick, who is the
take a knee. Yep.
Yeah. You know.
Sure.
You
know all
you
about
know
that
at least about that. Okay.
Yeah.
So I like the ad, and I think that Cap does deserve recognition, but I'm a little hesitant about companies co-opting social issues to make a buck, especially when they are notoriously have used child and slave-like labor in the past. And I don't know, they still might. Probably Nike is making their shoes are being made in conditions that we consider
probably
sweatshops.
Some sweatshop in Malaysia putting stitches in your shoes. Yeah.
Yep. Also, the rank hypocrisy of people using Tillman's picture to make memes for their point of view without getting permission from his family, which seems disrespectful as compared to Cap taking a knee, which he does after having a 90-minute conversation with a veteran about how the vet thought sitting was a disrespectful and taking a knee would show respect for our military members and still be a great symbol for protesting police brutality, which Cap listened and took to heart and started to implement. Just want to hear your all thoughts and hashtag Team Cap.
What's the commercial? I don't even know what the ad is.
It's just they're just building their ad campaign about Just Do It around his taking a stand and like Nike like. I mean, I think here you're right. Like corporations hijacking social justice movements is problematic at best. But what I think this is kind of like an overall, like a good cultural gauge. Like if Nike, a multi-billion-dollar company, is willing to roll the dice on Colin Kaepernick and like Black Lives Matter, that is a sign that they have counted the beans and decided there's more beans to be had promoting this view than there is either staying silent or taking the opposite stand, which I think is encouraging. It's like the same way, like if I'm running a fever and I'm 102 degrees and then I look at it and I'm 100, it's still not 98.6, but like that's a vital sign that I think is moving in the right direction. And I also like, there's even someone here on the forums, I'm not going to single you out, but like they're still parroting that like, well, I think that this, regardless of what the vet says, I think this is disrespectful to the flag. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I think you got to do some soul searching on that because the protest is explicitly about police brutality. And maybe you don't think it's as big a problem, but it is a problem. And it's a problem that plagues African-American communities. And the reality is, if they did a perfectly respectful protest that didn't ruffle any feathers, do you know what would happen? Crickets. So by making this into a disrespect for the country, a disrespect for the flag, a disrespect for our troops, you are intentionally not getting the point of the protest. And you are having a discussion that has nothing to do with what they're wanting to protest. Okay. Yeah. Same way when people like Black Lives Matter parade takes over an interstate and it's all about like, Jesus fucking Christ, I can't, like, why do you got to disrupt it? That's the whole point. That's the whole point. The whole point of black people marching across a bridge in Alabama was to challenge, like I think it's frustrating that these same sentiments, I would like for someone to explain to me how they're different than the sentiments expressed during the civil rights protests. Because white people fucking hated Martin Luther King. Hard to find one now that hates Martin Luther King Jr., but they fucking sure did back in the heights of the Civil Rights Act struggle. So what is the, what's the difference here? So yeah, is Nike doing it for the right reasons? Probably not, but I think it's a hopeful, optimistic sign of our society that a big company is doing that.
Yeah, I agree.
So anyway, your turn.
Christian also says you should live watch Cannonball Run in honor of the late great Burt Reynolds.
That would have been a good choice if we're still doing that.
Yeah, too bad we're not.
I haven't seen Cannonball Run in a long fucking time.
Me either. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen it. It's just a big race across the country, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's. I
think I've seen it.
The whole premise, I think, is you couldn't used to get Coors Light, or you couldn't get Coors the beer west of the Rockies. So they're like doing like a illegal bootleg Greywater beer run.
Wow. Okay.
I think is the premise. Because again, I'm like 11, 12 watched it on TV last time I saw this thing.
Yeah.
All right. Chuck Iponi, I think is whatever. Chuck Scipione, maybe. If Gus Fring was not compelled and obsessed by revenge against Cartel after they had killed his friend, how do you think his professional career would have played out? I believe he was in a chicken game even back when Max was alive, so he would still build Los Pollos into regional chain that it is, ? Still involved in the community without any sinister ulterior motives, still giving scholarships to honor his dead friend. What do you think, man? Because I got an opposite take on that.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I mean, he wouldn't have done any of the stuff he did with Hector. Which means he probably wouldn't have been killed, or at least not in that way. I think Walt would still want to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he wouldn't have had reason to try to take over their operation in the States.
Yeah.
So he'd probably still be working with him. He never would have met Walt.
Mm-hmm.
The super lab wouldn't have been a thing. They'd just be doing what they were doing at the beginning of Better Call Saul, right?
Yeah, I kind of got the feeling that the tenor of this question is like, I don't think it's true that Gus and his brother, the other chicken brother, quote unquote brother, I don't think they ever intended just to cook chicken.
Yeah,
like they were going to do like Gus is not a good man. Like his ties to the Pinochet regime probably, tell you everything you know about the fact that like Gus is not necessarily a virtuous good guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a universe in which he just cooks chicken and lives a solid upper middle class life. I think he's always involved in the cartel and the mob and outside the bounds of the law.
Yeah.
So
no, the chicken thing wasn't about chicken; it was about drugs.
Yeah.
So
it's like Don Eladio doesn't blow Max's head off in his pool if it's about chicken.
No,
about like getting chicken money.
Right. So he's still in he's still in with the cartel. He's just kind of doing it the way he was doing it before the whole Hector thing went down.
Benny, thanks for sharing that video about the trumpet playing. I'm going to show that to my son because he just got his instrument, and I want to encourage him to see, like, it's rough starting out an instrument. I want to show him what the ceiling on that can be. Nervous Rhino, have you ever been robbed?
Like personally, like mugged kind of thing? No. I've had my car broken into and things stolen out of it.
I've had my car broken into twice at that shitty apartment complex I stayed at, and then my motorcycle got stolen.
Oh, fuck.
But I've never been personally like held up or robbed. That seems like it'd be very scary.
Yeah.
Let's see. Our Coop from Knoxville. What are your favorite things to do in the fall? Are there any big fall festivals in your area, like Oktoberfest beer festivals?
I like to walk in the woods in the fall. I think fall is like the perfect, like crisp air.
Yeah.
The smell of fall, of autumn is awesome. Yeah, I just like to take hikes.
I was just doing a random Agent Smith.
He's licking the leaves.
Yeah.
Like fingering the leaves.
Yeah,
and
he
licking
always,
his
no matter if
fingers,
it's a good smell, it always sounds. He always enunciated it that way. What's that fresh bread cooking? It's the smell.
Yeah, that's probably my number one favorite thing to do in the fall.
I'm looking forward to it because like Cecily and I've been as hiking and outdoor adventuring cooking. We've been doing it in like balls hot weather, so I cannot wait until it gets like cool enough to like enjoy. I'm not saying I don't enjoy it, but like we soak ourselves through. We wear fully synthetic clothes, so it's not. And we drink a lot of water. We bought like these Camelback hydration things, but it's pretty fucking. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. Yeah, and that's the thing, like, Oktoberfest just concluded last weekend, and even though I love Oktoberfest and I intended fully to go to every single one, it was like 100 degrees and 100% humidity. Fuck drinking heavy German beers and Wiener Schnitzel at 100-degree heat in fucking tents with no fans. Like, I mean, I get it. Oktoberfest doesn't have an October. Can it be a late September fest? Because this shit's rough. Yeah, I missed out on Oktoberfest. I'll have to go to the Chris Kindle mark this year. Do you guys like haunted forest or corn mazes or anything like that other than the big events at parks like Kings Island, or just like to hike or take a drive in the woods to see the leaves? Yeah, the only haunted house I've ever done is the Kings Island stuff. Have you done the haunted houses, or do you do haunted houses?
I'm trying to think if I've done. I don't think I've done any haunted houses. Like by the time I was in a position to be allowed to go to haunted houses, I was kind of like not that interested in haunted houses.
Yeah.
So no, but I think I would like a corn maze. Like I've been on, hay rides and stuff like that. Those are nice. But like corn maze would be kind of cool.
We have time for two more. Okay. Jaharis T. Targaryen, presumably. How do you have productive conversations with someone who literally ignores facts? I'm not talking about your traditional conservative Republican. I'm talking a true MAGA hat wearing, Fox News blasting jabroni.
You don't.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't.
It's like people sometimes ask us, how do you have a productive conversation with Jehovah's Witness? The best you can ever hope to do is keep things civil and try to drive a wedge into a crack in their mind that will allow them to later contextualize things. I don't think you put up with it. Like, you shut that shit down. But because I think that kind of sting of the public lash is an important way to get people out of like a particular fixed mindset. But like, yeah, there's not a magic way to just influence and control people that's easy. Yeah. If there were, everyone would do it all the time.
No, and I kind of have become sort of accustomed to not trying to convince people that their opinions on things are wrong.
Right.
Because it's pointless to think that you're going to... There's no way you sit down with somebody and in a half an hour conversation, you've changed their worldview. Nope. It doesn't happen. And I like when I was listening to like a lot of like atheist podcasts and stuff, and the discussion there was always around like, talk with people, but don't try and convince them that they're wrong. Like,
right.
Try and just defend your point, but don't try and necessarily like tear their belief down. Just show the resistance, I guess, to the ideas that they believe,
right,
without trying to like specifically target them.
Yeah. And like always try to maintain empathy, because if you're not going to have empathy with where they're coming from, then you're not going to be persuasive anyway. And that's why it's like, because I save like I'll really get into wrestling with like my close family members, like my dad. I'll go to the mat with him on a political argument if he wants to bring it. I always tell him, like, look, man, we don't have to talk about this shit, but if you're going to talk about this shit, you're going to hear my mind on it. Like, I listened to your bullshit for 20 years, and now it's my turn. So yeah, I encourage you to keep doing it, but like, just don't think that you are going to fix their worldview.
Yeah.
Because like there's like I look back and being in a literal cult, there wasn't one thing.
Right.
It was reading this book and seeing this fact and having this conversation and being kicked off this forum and realizing at 5 years later how embarrassing the way I used to talk. It's that stuff. That stuff over like the adds up that adds the adds up to real change more than any individual thing. Jay Davis question. I wanted your thoughts on balls hanging off the backs of trucks. Me personally, I think it's a blaring red flag that says I'm the biggest douchebag ever. I'm tired of seeing them almost every truck with a lift kit. I don't get it. Your thoughts?
Is that what you're talking about? Truck nuts?
Truck nuts.
Fuck me. Do we even have to have this conversation?
You know what?
Like truck nuts?
Truck nuts are the gold grill of the redneck persuasion. Like,
okay.
Like that
I
exact
thought
same
that was-
person in a urban setting would get like a flashy gold grill in their teeth. You
Okay.
know? It's just they don't care that you don't like it. They're doing it because they know you don't like it. Or it's weird and it's in your face. It's ostentatious. Like the same way I got $5,000 in my mouth, or I've got a $100 lookalike like I do. It's the same thing when you're rolling around with a lift kit. Like some of those guys have like $80,000 to spend on the truck, and some people spend $2,000 and hang. It's like it's a fuck you to the world. It's literally like wearing a fuck you t-shirt. Like, fuck you, I don't care what you think, look at me,
Sure. And it's meant to give me an opinion of you.
Right.
And
yeah.
and it effectively does so.
Right. I saw a guy,
And it's not a positive one, I'll say.
I saw a guy at Kelly's Island had a t-shirt that said, the best part about being me is it pisses off all the right people. Okay. I'm not going to share a table with you. So like it's an easy way to just like sort people into like, I don't know. I'm sure there are people with truck nuts that are perfectly insightful and sensitive, and they're doing it because they really ironically like the fact that there's nuts on their truck.
No, we've talked about irony.
But that's probably few and far between.
Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't just go for truck nuts. It's anything that's like intentionally there to get in your face,
Yeah.
and piss you off,
Yeah,
and just
mohawks.
like, I mean, some shit is designed to offend you, and people
Yeah.
enjoy that about it.
Facial
and
tattoos.
And surprise, surprise, I get offended by it, and I don't want anything to do with that person. So,
Right.
I guess point for you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's like, and more and more in society, we're just, because of the things we talked about, it's less couth to just call someone out in public. We're seeing more and more extreme forms. Like I talked about the ridiculous militarized clothing fetish that the people on the right of this country are going through right now. Like whatever. I mean, everyone is like being in your face and like wanting to know, and it's like, and I don't know, because there's like I feel like I don't know. I don't really want to get any more in this conversation.
I mean, the stuff that I like. Let's go the other way with it. Like,
Yeah.
there are signifiers that make me immediately feel like a community relationship with somebody, and that's the kind of stuff that I like, right?
Right.
Like, if I'm wearing a shirt for Game of Thrones or whatever, it's not designed to be in your face and say "fuck you" if you don't like this show. It's designed to signal the other people and say, "Hey, I'm one of you."
Right.
And that brings people together. Whereas truck nuts and shit like that is designed specifically to get in your face and push people away. That's what I
controversial
hate.
opinion. I feel the same way about like Darwin fish.
Okay.
Like you are wanting your fellow your Christian countrymen to be pissed off when they see that.
That's probably true.
I agree. Like I agree with their thoughts and ethics, but I still think it's kind of gross.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not like, because Game of Thrones is kind of like, it's not a particular ethos. It's just so you're a fan of that thing.
Yeah.
But like it's anything that's designed to be offensive is the opposite of what we're just talking about, changing minds and showing empathy. It's just like, fuck you, here I am. And that's, I don't know. Like I said, like this is all shit that's the billboard of our personality to the world.
Yeah.
And what kind of billboard do you want to have? What kind of billboard is going to build bridges? What kind of billboard is going to, you know, get you ahead in life, is going to have people think like either neutral or positive opinion, and what people, I don't know.
Let me ask you this. Do you even need a fucking billboard?
Yeah, maybe not.
Could you maybe just have conversations and relationships with people?
Right.
And those are the people who know who you are, and you don't have to scream it to the fucking world.
But that's the whole, like, you know, when we had this conversation coming home from the Philadelphia about like where like individuality gets us into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
But do you want to stamp down an individuality?
No, but I don't think everything has to be defined by individuality either.
Right. I mean, one thing is like I keep thinking is like, what if we just didn't react? What if a guy drove a truck nuts around and he just didn't get a reaction?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I bet he'd have a lot less truck nuts, right?
Probably.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or like anything.
I don't know.
else,
Do
like,
people who drive around vehicles with that kind of stuff on them? Because I'm not one of them. I don't do bumper stickers or anything like that. Those kind of ornaments, do they get shit all day? Do like people come up to them and say, "Oh, I hate you. You got fucking truck nuts"?
I don't know. That's one of the reasons I don't like fly many particular flags on, because I don't want people to come up and start shit with me.
Yeah.
Like that seemed. I don't know. Probably not, because I think most people are way bigger coward, or like they're not as socially brave as they think they are. Like if these people were getting called out on a regular basis, I don't think it would happen. I don't think anyone gets called out for anything.
Yeah.
Like it's a rare occasion to get called out for anything, personal display like it just depends. Like if you bring your truck nuts into the city, you probably get more likely to get called out. Just like if you're sagging your pants out in the country, you're probably going to get more. Like it's that people feel emboldened that they think most of the society is with them. But like, yeah, in your own element, like I don't think people get called out. Even like I've seen people walk around with like the word "fuck" on their shirt on Kings Island, and no one says shit to them. It's just like you roll your eyes and like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So all right,
Shut it
that's
down.
it. We got to go. We got to do an Empire podcast with a special guest that we got lined up. So thanks for joining us for lunch. We look forward to seeing you again next week and all throughout your days. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
See ya.